uh, Yo caught me by surprise when I was like, sometimes it happens. It happens. You get caught out there. And I don't censor. I don't like do it over and then start over. No, you catch me as is. Well, I had to take down the video on Gemini and Scorpio. I think I did. I had to take it down because I had already done it. So I had to take time. My management team told me, Fernando, you've done that video already. So I had to take it down. They're on point. I love them. They're on point. So we chose through my file to see which signs I have not done yet. We're coming close to the end of the series of compatibility and incompatibility of signs. I only have one or two more videos to do in the area of Aquarius, and the one that is Pisces, and the one that's least done of all of the series is Cancer. Cancer, I think I got 6 more videos to do to complete that series of Cancer. And with Pisces, I think I have 4 more. And I'm gonna finish that this week because you all know that next Tuesday I will be in Asia for the rest of the summer, and I will be, provided how the donations and love is going. I'll be doing readings from Shanghai and Singapore. I'm gonna purchase an international line so like that the subscribers can talk to me directly all over the world where I'm at, and vice versa. That was the issue. I didn't have an international line, and I'm getting all that set up. You know, there are expenses. So, guys, run to the GoFundMe page or to my PayPal.me/Fernando Prudhomme or the People's Astrologer. I just looked at my YouTube page, and what my management team is doing is fantastic. They changed the entire face of my YouTube channel, and they changed the picture, and they did all kinds of things. I love them. Thank you guys for doing that. I just woke up this morning and I saw that my entire website was changed and it looks nicer, and they did all kinds of things. I gotta pay for that stuff. So I thank my team for that very much. I think I will not be doing this or be doing it with the fluidity and ease had I had not a fully equipped staff that's helping pull this together. And I thank YouTube staff, Vistaprint staff, Corinda and my staff for helping me launch this and put this together. I'm also going to do a fundraiser here in New York City, which I would like to invite you. I'm going to do an open seminar, and I'm going to invite you guys. And if you're in New York City, you can get a chart done. You can get all your questions answered. Almost like a talk show. And I'm going to be speaking to I'm going to have an audience made of you, my subscribers. So this is going to be on July 31st. If you are in New York City, in the metropolitan area, I'm hosting a seminar. I'm doing that same seminar in Singapore. I'm doing it here in New York City for my subscribers. So you guys can, if you're in New York City, it's great. And if you guys are not, you have to fly in. But it'll be an all-day seminar and workshop, and it'll be about $250. And it's for the entire day. And there'll be food and drinks. It's Fernando, Leo, so I'm gonna make it real nice. Okay, and with all kinds of goodies for you to take back with you. Okay, so and that is a fundraiser to raise money for my shows and also for the shows that go on in the garden. Okay, as the fiscal officer, I have to make sure that the money is flowing to keep that garden running. And there's a lot of activities. There's a lot of young people doing a lot of wonderful things, because of your money and your donations. And I hope you guys don't think that this is a scam. I'm very transparent. You guys can come to the city and look at my performances and the performances of other people too, not just mine, other people too. The other people performing it has opened the door to the community to allow all kinds of creativity to come into the community. And this is something that's important in communities of color and also in communities of ethnicities, including Caucasian, because believe it or not, the white race, it is a culture. They have a culture, and their culture, like any other culture, is just as valuable and just as valid. And I represent all of them in the work that I do. So please understand where your money is going. So just in case, um, you're losing the focus of it. Yes, you're paying for content, but understand that that money is going not in my pocket. I mean, some of it is, let's be real. But most of it goes to produce my shows, which of course I'm very transparent about. So I took 5 minutes, 36 seconds to give you this announcement. So I'm going to make up those minutes with adding extra time for this compatibility and incompatibility of science. So without further ado, I have my watermelon margarita. Not martini, it's margarita. It's a little bit, too late to be drinking heavy like that. But this margarita I make myself, and it only has like a little bit of alcohol, just a tad. No, really, I won't be this up and well rested at 5 in the morning if I was drinking too much. It was my first drink for the day. Sometimes I drink a lot, and most times I don't. But when I do drink a lot, it seems like I'm always on the air. But even when I'm in the air, I do real sips. I'm not really a heavy hitter like that. But now, compatibility and incompatibility of signs. Aquarius and Scorpio. They're incompatible because it's air and water. I had to close the door because my spouse is still asleep. Uh, Understand that Scorpio and Aquarius is considered incompatibility because one is water and one is air. Now I read. See, I am that guy who reads all of your descriptions and all of your comments. Sometimes on a Sunday I have a martini. I'll sit back and I'll read your comments when I have time. And sometimes it takes me straight up 8-9 hours to read all of your comments. So understand that, and I pay close attention to what you say. And some of you have something to say about the fact that how can it be incompatible, earth, water and air, since we have water in the atmosphere and we have water in the ethers, and air has moisture, which is water. And I was very impressed by that person who said that on one of the comments. And yes, that is absolutely true. There is water in air, and there's air in water, like H2O. The person said that there's air in the water. So therefore, it cannot be that incompatible if there is air in water and water in air. That's absolutely correct. And we are talking scientifically correct, but when we're talking psychologically and esoterically, we have to split the elements apart and look at them in the rawest form individually, so we can understand how they work when they are together in combination with other elements. Okay, air and fire and water and earth are four different elements with their own distinct properties when we're talking about chemistry and cosmology. But and when we're dealing with the esoteric and spiritual, these same elements connote another meaning in and of themselves. And then when they're combined in nature, they also confer a different meaning in and of themselves. Okay? And this is esoteric knowledge. If you take my classes, you will understand what I'm talking about and what I mean. I break these things down into details. But in the rawest and purest essence, they do have and connote a different psychology than when they are enmeshed in the world of creation, in which we see all the elements. I mean, this lamp right here is both air, water, and air, and fire. This right here is the four elements. Without the four elements, this could not be matter. Carbon matter is a composite of these four elements. Without it, we won't have the material crystallized form that we see around us. So yeah, it gets deeper, baby. It gets deeper. So the context in which I make these references about, on, and through, have distinct definitions that come from the esoteric occult knowledge base. And then you have science and cosmology, which has a different frame of reference than the esoteric spiritual. So try not to get confused with the two. Remember, it's Shambhala and Agartha, and the battle still is going on. Okay, let's jump right in and talk about Scorpio and Aquarius. Now, where do we find this combination in nature? Okay, because that's the first thing that we have to ask ourselves. That's the first thing that we have to ask ourselves. Where do we find this combination in nature? Well, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I can think of a plethora of combinations. But the one that sticks to mind or stands out to me mostly is the fact that you have two fixed signs with incompatible elements. Two fixed signs don't usually work well. And then you have air and water. So the psychological orientation of water is different from the psychological orientation of Aquarius. You have to understand that Aquarius' mental fixity is towards the cosmic, the otherworldly, the separation from this life and looking towards another direction of life which is different than our own. Scorpio is not otherworldly. Scorpio is not concerned with outside the box. It wants to stay inside the box. But that doesn't mean that Scorpio doesn't know what's outside the box. Scorpio knows intrinsically what's outside the box because he comes from outside the box. And he comes and creates a box within himself to protect himself from what's out there. But he knows what's out there. The one that doesn't know what's out there, it's Aquarius. Aquarius knows deep down, intrinsically, that there's something out there greater than the box containment of Scorpio's doing. So if the Scorpion wants to trap an Aquarian, the Scorpion has to put a booby trap outside the box where Aquarius is, trying to explore and find out what's going on out there. Because he's always on some quest, right? So he's not going to really notice the Scorpion until he falls into the booby trap and he's caught. That's that sting of Scorpio, which can be good or bad. And then once Aquarius is caught in the trap, animal trap, the head get cut. Scorpio drives Aquarius into the box and tries to convince him to stay there with him. And if the Scorpio is unevolved and older than the Aquarian, and the Aquarian being much younger, because it depends on age with this combination. And it depends whether you're older or younger and your level of maturity and also your economic and social political status. Because these are very intelligent signs, brilliant signs. But if you come from poverty or if you come from lack or if you come from emotional and intellectual deprivation, this can be a very horrific combination. Because both signs are very intellectually evolved and astute. But if they're in a lower station in life, this can spell terror for this combination, Aquarius and Scorpio. Quite a quandary. So how do you get over that? How do you make it work? How do you bring about a balance of this combination? Now, if we flip it and we say that Aquarius, enjoying his sense of freedom, out there in the ethers, like the Jetsons. Remember the Jetsons? that cartoon? No, they would go in space, fly into space, and then they go to different galaxies and solar systems, and they gather friends, and then they come into this solar system with a bunch of their friends that they brought from other solar systems and other galaxies. You just see the Jetsons. It's such a funny cartoon in the 80s. Again, the 80s. So this cartoon was about the Jetsons, and I consider them to be an Aquarius family. They're in space, living in space. Such a progressive cartoon for the ages, but it does. But it makes sense that it came out in the 80s because the opposite polarity of Leo, which heralded the 80s, it's Aquarius, space and technology, and the Jetsons accented that part of the polarity of Leo in the 80s with Aquarius, and it became an extremely popular cartoon. So you have to understand that if you have Aquarius out there all about lollygagging, and then he sees Scorpio in his self-contained prison, you know, because Scorpio is happy where he's at and his own reality that he has created for himself, you know, and what he wants and what he needs is within that containment, including those that he loves. He puts them in there and enslaves them, which is why, and of course, this is not done intentionally and consciously, but you know, Scorpio is a fixed sign, and Scorpio doesn't bend for anybody. It's his way or her way or no way at all. The same thing can be said about Aquarius. So now what? Now what do we do? How do you make this work when you got two stubborn signs, fixed, opposite modalities, opposite elements? How do you strike a balance? Libra. How do you strike a balance? One of the two has to compromise. Which of the two is going to compromise? And if they're below age 30, they might not want to compromise. So then they'll fight each other. It becomes, hence, another, you said it, War of the Roses. Who wins in the situation with the War of the Roses? And you all saw the movie. I told you, right? Again, the 1980s. I'm telling you. Oh, my God. What a decade that was. They broke it down for you in that movie. And at the end, both the woman and the men, played by Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas, in the end, both of them die. Both of them kill each other. This is Scorpio and Aquarius par excellence. Now, in the movie, yes, it was a tragic ending. They both died, but symbolically, a Scorpio Aquarius relationship, just like a Scorpio Aquarius relationship, is really, really, really bad. But the opposite of Leo is Aquarius. Duh. Doesn't make sense? The same with Taurus and Leo, or Taurus and Aquarius. You know, the opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. The opposite of Aquarius is Leo. So here we go again. It's the same dynamic. You have to look at the polarity point of each of the signs to understand the psychological backdrop behind the motivation that governs every single individual within all of the 12 signs of the zodiac. You have to look towards the opposite sign if you want to understand who you are. If you are a Virgo, you need to understand Pisces to know who you are. If you are Scorpio, you need to know a Taurus, the opposite polarity, to understand who you are. If you're Aries, it's Libra. Gemini, Sagittarius. Cancer, Capricorn. Because it is a subconscious and subconscious. It is the yin and the yang. Do you get it? We're not one sign. We are two. A polarity point. And then when you add the moon phases and the moon signs, there's no way that you're not going to know that person next to you. With my videos so far, there is no way that you can make a mistake in choosing a partner. Because I've given you the skeletal framework of where that person could fit. And if they're evolutionarily at the space where they should be. I've given you all those parameters. If I were to stop doing videos from now on, what I've given you is enough to last you even posthumously. Okay? And time will bear full witness to this model that I've created and proposed to you. It will not lead you wrong. If anything, you'll understand human character, human personality far greater and far more than you would have on your own, unless, of course, you're studying to be a psychologist or a psychotherapist or an astrologer. Now, we are the ones who have been entrusted with understanding the human condition and actually writing about it and making sense of it scientifically and academically. So when we're dealing with this combination, we have to look at it from that standpoint. This combination is not a good combination if you're below age 30 and you haven't reached a certain level of maturity that this combination demands. And you're gonna fuck it up. You know? Your level of education, economic standing, all of these things play a role. Remember, we're dealing with the higher signs, Scorpio, Aquarius, past Virgo. Remember, the first six, Aries to Virgo, is individual development. But from Libra to Pisces, we're dealing with higher forms of development outside of you and dealing with partners, society, and the universe as a whole. Ego begins to die in Virgo. And then the concerns for your fellow human being and your society and your community and even your race, your culture, your planet begins with the cardinal sign of Libra, where we begin to pay personal and universal concerns to that outside of ourselves, to that which is greater than us. That begins in the cardinal sign of Libra, when we are trying to create an interrelatedness of things. And we have to mention that because Aquarius is fixed air, and it carries the same principles that begins in Libra. But with Aquarius, it takes a radical shift and turn. And this can be translated into human behavior of each individual born and experiencing a relationship with this combination. Okay? So then you have to ask yourself, well, how do you make it work? How do you make it balance? Well, first we have to determine who's the boss. Who's the boss? Will it be Aquarius female or Scorpio female with an Aquarian man? Well, I'll tell you this much. No one is in control here. The power dynamic here is so complicated, because that's really the best way to put it. It's so complicated that you cannot fit it in one model. Because let's make an example. If the Scorpio woman, if it's a Scorpio woman with an Aquarian man, normally the Scorpio woman will be in control. Normally. But here's the thing. To the Aquarian man, no pussy is that good that it will compromise his freedom. He'll leave the Scorpio woman alone, despite how good she is, the fact that she herself is life itself. She's the lifeline. He'll walk away from her and from the experience if it means that he has to succumb to her demands. An Aquarian man, the men, like the Leo man, the opposite polarity, they are not going to bend to a woman's will. I don't care how good the pussy is. They won't do it. Ladies, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And if they do, let me tell you how a motherfucker Aquarius can be. He'll placate you, cheat on you, do whatever the fuck you want, and simulate respect for you. Pretend to follow you. And of course, you being the Scorpio woman that you are, you're going to know it, see it, smell it, anticipate it before he does. And you're going to catch him at his game. He's going to know that he can't fuck with you, so he'll dismiss you and leave you. But Aquarius can do that. Aquarius is not going to be moved by your sex, Mrs. Scorpio. I know that you can tear men apart with that coochie of yours. It's not going to do anything for the Aquarian man. Your power here will be impotent, Scorpio woman, with your Aquarian man. Not going to work. You're going to have to use your witch's bag, because I said the Scorpio woman is a witch. You're going to have to go to your witch's bag and figure out a way to capture this man that's non-sexual, because he ain't going to grab the bite. And I know that there's a lot of goodies that you have in your bag to get the Aquarian. I ain't mad at you. If anything, this makes it more exciting for you, because it's to put your meat in, to put your teeth in, to capture this man, and he's worth the catch. He's worth it. But you have to be, well, the Scorpio woman won't have a problem because she already know what's at stake. So now let's flip and let's say if it's the Aquarian man, I'm the Aquarian woman with a Scorpio man. Well, here's the thing. The Aquarian woman is a highly intellectual creature. And her sexuality is very directly connected with the suppleness of her mind. If you ain't smart, I mentioned this before, you're going to get in between these women's legs. The Aquarian man, the Scorpio man, doesn't really give a shit about your intellect or intellect in general. I mean, that doesn't mean that because he doesn't give a shit that he's not intellectual and that he's not knowledgeable and that he doesn't know. Of course he knows. But the question is, does it matter to him? Does it matter to him? The answer is no. It don't matter to him. So, Mr. Aquarius, if you're going to capture this man by your intellect, he'd rather see you naked and talk to him rather than you be dressed and talk to him. You're talking intellect. He wants to see what's in behind your clothes. He wants to know what makes you tick. A Scorpio man is apt to be abusive to the Aquarian woman because she's so emotionally unavailable. Again, not that she is not capable of being emotional. She's just emotionally unavailable. When she wants to be available emotionally, she will be and does. But for the most part, she's very guarded. And Scorpio can use this against her and really hurt this woman just to get her to come out. See, with Scorpio, there's nothing sweet and loving or nice when it comes to the process of interpersonal communications with Scorpio. With Scorpio, it's all or nothing. And the direction and flow of conversation is not one that you will control if Scorpio has anything to say about it. Okay? So here we see the highest form of interpersonal relatedness complexity, because it really will require many factors for this combination to work. And it is a step-by-step process of trial and error to see what works. Because both Scorpio and Aquarius are very withholding emotionally. And when it comes to spiritual principles, between the two of them, it is an evolution for these two signs to reach that level. Now, I have reached 30 minutes, so I made my announcement and I finished with part 1.